Aloha and welcome to Java. This is Tuesday, March 12th, 2024, the big day we've been waiting for the CPI numbers coming out. So let's go right into what we're watching for this morning. We've got the MMRI we've been watching is still been holding around the same level, 261.7 right now. Yesterday, the stocks did have a bit of a pullback. So this morning, we're watching the relative strength of the dollar and the 10-year yield dropping just a bit, giving equities a little bit of breathing room. But right now, everybody's just kind of on a hold and wait for those numbers to come out. They will be coming out prior to the market open. And we've got the futures mixed on this. So we are still watching the liquidity issues for the banks. We'll go over a little bit more on that. So Tuesday morning, we're watching first the CPI numbers that are coming out 8:30 a.m. And we are also going to be watching the 10-year note auctions. The 10-year yield will be affected by this. We'll be watching very carefully when that comes out because that will affect the prices and pretty much everything else that we're watching. So, big day. We've got the NASDAQ futures did pop up a little bit higher, as I was saying. That's because of the relative strength of the dollar and the yield falling, giving that a little bit more room. Basically, that's money flowing back into equities. So, on the banking, let's get a little bit more into that. So, yesterday marked 1 year after SVB went down the bank, and they're watching at the regional banks. Of course, they're not out of the woods. There's still quite a bit of toxic assets in these, but we're watching what they're doing with these. So, they had a report come out. This is all of the major banks. And in comparison, they've got the NASDAQ Regional Banking Index. So as you can tell, all of the mega banks got larger on this. So this is kind of the same story where all of the money gets concentrated in these larger ones, and then they're going to allow these to fail. So that's kind of how they're going to let pressure out of this system, is by letting more of these small to mid-sized banks fail. So looking at what's going on back here, they did halt their bank term funding program. And this is a graph of the borrowings that happened during that time. And you can see with the arbitration, basically all of the banks had to get in this toward the end. And since the Fed built this program up, kind of getting them used to this, and now the program is closed. So we're going to be watching how this affects a lot of what's going on in that sector. They were talking about doing swaps. I'll go into that a little bit in a moment. So what all of this is causing is where the money is flowing. So we've got stocks going up and cryptocurrencies. Bitcoin hit its all-time high and it's continuing. It looks to be finding that level right about 72,000. If it stays above that and consolidates a bit, it can move much higher from there. So all of the money that is coming out of these other areas are coming into these other assets, stocks and Bitcoin. Gold is up, and this has nothing to do with the economy. It's more of a fear trade. So right here, we've got China's Vanke. This is a little more about what I was talking about. Debt swaps talks with banks to stave off default. So what are they talking about? The developer, this on a real estate developer again, they're talking about swapping off their debt because they want to avoid their bond default. Bond is just another way, it's their loans. So they've cut tens of billions of yuan in these loans, and they're trying to do temporary swaps through either changing their interest rates or moving it with other real estate companies to avoid a public default while they're kind of giving the collateral away. So they make these notes against the real estate that they own and trying to just kind of stay above water for a short period of time again. So moving away from banking, I want to go into jobs in the real economy. We've got Tyson, this back in the United States, closing their Iowa pork plant with 1,200 workers. So the important part that I find about this is that Tyson Foods, they are the meat plant. So they're set to shut their pork packing plant. They just closed a couple of their chicken facilities a little bit earlier, and they're citing a slump in the demand for its products. So the question is this: do you think people are really eating less meat by choice, or do you think this is a cut in their spending ability? Because I think this is a real indicator here between meat. It's not an extra in the budget, so to speak. So, with that, we've got more jobs that are being lost, about 1,200 from this one. They've got 9,000 people total. And that's a definite marker of what's really going on. So we've got conflicting stories now, with mainstream media still trying to say that we're at the bottom in this very strong economy and we're going to go forward from here. If they cut rates, it's possible there could be a lot of money that would flow in different ways, but the economy is still very, very weak. So, along with that, when it's beginning to affect food, you can see that it's getting real, so to speak. So, Irish dairy giant producing Kerrygold, they're they've got a plant in Pennsylvania. They're closing it. So they're also citing a lack of demand and they can't basically make ends meet. So along with this, we've got China has never canceled this many shipments of United States wheat. Well, this is due to a slightly behind the scenes story. So what is going on is that Russia is producing a great amount of wheat and they're doing more trade. So, since they are now getting most of their wheat from eastern side, they're canceling their shipments of the United States wheat. Multiple reasons because of cost imports and then also the trade wars. So, we've got another survey that was done on Americans' financial insecurity, and they're saying that it's at a record. So while the mainstream media is saying that everybody's doing well, there's still households, job numbers are strong. People are beginning to feel this. They're pulling back on their spending, and it's going to start this giant snowball down a hill, so to speak. Okay, we've got United States small business optimism also at a 9-month low. So 9-month low really isn't that bad. I think the numbers are higher, but we've got more to go, in my opinion. So more job losses have to come out. They're citing our unemployment is still less than 4% in the 3.8, 3.9%. So this is not a realistic rate. I think it's closer to double that. And it will have to get closer in the 20s before they take real action or do rate cuts or something of that sort. I do think they will cut rates eventually, but things will be much worse before they do. So I just want to bring up a couple of stories getting bombarded with. So talking about the Boeing whistleblower, John Barnett, found dead. So he went in to do a deposition. He was an engineer at Boeing. The story is all over. Then he was found mysteriously dead in his car. So there's obviously more going on here. Seems like foul play. But I think a lot of this also is distraction. This company is large. They are finally getting to that point of the 185. I'm looking at 175 level, but we're going to see where it settles. So the COVID low is just above 100. So watching this company and a lot of things going on, there is a lot of distraction. So backstory that they're definitely not speaking about. We've got also down in Haiti is really beginning to blow up. There were gangs there. There was the United States placed a political figure down there. And now they're saying that it's ruled by gangs, whatever's going on. Ariel Henry, who was the one who was placed there, has finally said he would resign once a council was formed. So the people they're putting in place in that council, that is also political hotspot for the United States. Keep an eye on that. There's a lot more I can't say about that here. So with that, I do want to speak about one lava update. This story came out about wonder material, graphene, and how it makes huge steps towards practical use. So it's flexible. They're talking about flexible chips, and using it as the material for nanochips, nanobots. So, why is this so important? Because they're talking about medical breakthroughs, and this is also was in some of the jabs that were given out, because it's used as a fixative in the solution that they were using. So, keep an eye on this as well. So, with that, just a little reminder, if you don't mind liking, thank you for being here. I hope you have a wonderful day. And until I see you again, my friends, stay free.